It was our 5th wedding anniversary. My husband and I were camping up in the mountains when he got a call from his first love. He hurried down the mountain without so much as a word to me. Got in his car and drove off. Then the weather turned in the middle of the night. A blizzard hit out of nowhere. My allergic asthma flared up. I called him dozens and dozens of times, but he never answered a single one. I almost died up on that mountain. When I got out of the hospital, I finally saw my husband again. Been gone for days. The first thing out of his mouth was a proposal for divorce. Can we get divorced for a little while? He said. Bella's been diagnosed with cancer. She has less than a year left. I want to be with her through the end. Once she's gone, I'll marry you again. He was willing to sign over all his assets to me as collateral. I looked at the restrained, tender look on both their faces and signed the divorce papers without hesitation. I'd noticed Ethan was gone 20 minutes earlier. The howling wind outside the tent made my stomach twist with dread. I stepped out and found the starry night sky had turned pitch black like a storm was rolling in. I'd checked the forecast before we left. It was supposed to be clear skies both days, but watching tree trunks bend in the wind, feeling the temperature plummet, a sick sense of unease settled in my chest. I wanted to call Ethan and tell him we needed to get down the mountain fast, but after searching for what felt like forever, I realized he was gone. His phone went straight to voicemail, out here in the middle of nowhere. Had something happened to him? Before I could search any further, the frigid air burned my airways. My throat grew dry and itchy, and my breathing came fast and tight. I knew instantly my allergic asthma was flaring up. I thanked myself for always carrying my medication, but when I tore through the tent looking for my inhaler, I realized the backpack with my meds was gone. It had left with Ethan. Panic flooded me. I called emergency services right away and explained my situation. While I waited for help, I called Ethan another dozen times. Still no answer. The string of starlights I'd strung outside the tent glowed bright against the dark sky. The mountain rescue team flew an inhaler up to me via drone first. Then they climbed up, carried me down, and took me to the hospital. It wasn't until dawn that Ethan finally picked up. A soft woman's voice came through the line. Hello. I was dazed. The voice sounded so familiar, but I was too frantic to think about it. I need to speak to Ethan. Is he there? The woman lowered her voice. He was up so late last night. He's still sleeping. He can't come to the phone right now. Is there something I can pass along? Who is this? I asked, confused. Bella Hart. Bella Hart. Ethan's ex-girlfriend. Hadn't she moved abroad junior year? And why was she with him? My mind went blank. I couldn't wrap my head around it. My husband had been camping with me on the mountain last night. How had he ended up at Bella's place in the middle of the night? And she said he was tired. Still sleeping. My throat went dry. I couldn't get a single word out. When I didn't say anything, she went on. Should I have him call you back when he wakes up? I finally managed a hoarse reply. No. When did he get to your place? There was a pause. Like she was thinking back. Around 2 in the morning, I think. I wasn't feeling well and called him. He rushed right over. Her tone was calm, casual, like she was answering a stranger's question. I didn't buy for a second that she didn't know who I was. Last I checked, Ethan had me saved in his phone as wifey, but none of it mattered anymore. The second Bella answered Ethan's phone, I knew our marriage was over. I lay in the hospital bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. I couldn't fathom how our nice anniversary had turned into this. I'd always thought Ethan and I had a happy, loving marriage. I knew he'd had a big, dramatic relationship in college, and that his girlfriend had been Bella Hart, the campus beauty queen. But everyone has a past, right? There was no point clinging to a relationship that had ended years ago. Besides, Ethan and I got together 3 years after Bella left the country. Hell, even a mourning period would be over after 3 years. Looking back now, I'd just been blindly trusting in our marriage. I'd spiked a fever, and the doctors wanted to keep me for 3 days to make sure the asthma didn't turn into a lung infection. I called a lawyer friend and had her draw up divorce papers. If Ethan wanted to run back to his first love, I saw no reason to stand in his way. 3 days later, I was discharged and headed home. When I got to the mansion, I tried the lock, but the fingerprint scanner kept failing. I tried the passcode. That didn't work either. Frowning, I rang the doorbell. Ethan answered. The second he saw me, his face twisted with anger. So you finally decided to come back. Where have you been? You've been gone for days. He had the nerve to ask me that. What do you think? I said coldly. Ethan froze, like he was suddenly remembering the blizzard that night we were camping. He fired off question after question. You made it down the mountain safely after the snow hit. Right. You should have called me. Why didn't you let me know you were okay? Do you have any idea how worried I was? And where were you all these days? Anyway, everyone says the camping scene is messy. Were you with someone else this whole time? My hands and feet went numb with rage. My head spun, staring at the man I'd been married to for 5 years. I reared back and slapped him hard across the face. Bastard, get out of my way. That slap took every last bit of strength I had. My arms went limp afterward. I shoved Ethan aside and stumbled inside. But the moment the door swung fully open, I froze. Bella was lounging on my sofa, wearing my brand new loungewear, picking at a fruit platter with a fork. Ethan had brought her into our home. My head swam, her eyes still on the TV. She said, Ethan, can you make me a hot cocoa? When he didn't answer, she turned toward the door. Our eyes locked. Bella's hand stilled mid-bite. Her smile dropped and she stood up, looking flustered. Oh, Clara, you're home. Come in. It's freezing out there. I ignored her, fighting to keep my body from shaking. Bella didn't seem to notice. She kept talking like nothing was wrong. Clara, you're so bad at keeping in touch. I had no idea you and Ethan got married. I was so shocked when he told me the other day. I never would have guessed you two would end up together. There were always so many girls hanging around him back then. I almost laughed. In college, we'd only been in the same club, barely acquaintances. There was no way I would have invited her to my wedding. Ethan spoke up to explain. Clara and I had a small wedding, just close family and friends. And you were overseas anyway, couldn't ask you to fly thousands of miles just for that. Bella made a non-committal sound, then gasped. Ethan, what happened to your face? Did Clara hit you? She turned on me then. Clara, that's so unfair. You've been off gallivanting for days and Ethan's been worried sick about you. And you come home and hit him. At the mention of the camping trip, Ethan's face darkened further. I looked right at Bella and smiled. Bella, are you trying to get back together with Ethan? Bella froze, like she'd been caught in a lie. She shook her head frantically. No. You two are married. I would never try to break up your marriage. Her words rang hollow. I pressed on. If you don't want to break up our marriage, then who are you putting on this innocent little act for? Innocent act. Bella's face flushed bright red. Ethan insisted I stay here because I'm sick. It's not like I begged to come. I scoffed. Really? Because you two look pretty cozy. What is this? Some cheap drama where the mistress moves in and steals the wife's clothes. You. Bella's eyes glistened with angry tears. She hurled her fruit fork onto the floor. Ethan's jaw tightened. His voice dropped to a low growl. There's nothing going on between Bella and me. You don't have to be so cruel. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, so you can do it. But I can't say it. You think my words are ugly. I haven't even started on how ugly your actions are. Bella's face crumpled. Clara, that's going too far. I laughed bitterly. Too far. You break into my house, sit on my couch, wear my clothes, and I'm the one going too far. Are you insane? Enough. Ethan tugged at the back of my shirt, but Bella was already running toward the bathroom, hands covering her face. Sobbing, the door slammed shut behind her. I kicked off my shoes and walked barefoot into the living room. Ethan followed right on my heels. I spun around suddenly. He stumbled, nearly falling over before he could stop. I crossed my arms and smirked, planning to keep both a wife and a mistress under the same roof. Mr. Walker. Ethan stepped back, avoiding my mocking gaze. Don't be ridiculous. Bella has stomach cancer. Her husband left her. She has no family here. That's why I brought her home to take care of her. I was going to talk to you about it first, but you disappeared for days. I froze. Stomach cancer. I pulled my hospital discharge papers out of my bag and flung them at his face. Why didn't I come home? Because you snuck down the mountain in the middle of the night and left me there. You took my backup inhaler with you. I almost died up there from an asthma attack. Why do you think I didn't come home? By the end, I was screaming. Ethan held the discharge papers. His hands started to shake. I thought about being on that mountain, gasping for air, almost dying. I thought about how even then, I'd been worried about him. White-hot hatred flooded my chest. I slapped him again. Hard. This time he didn't flinch. 5 red finger marks bloomed across his cheek. He pressed his tongue to the inside of his cheek. Wincing. I'm sorry. Bella had a stomach bleed. She just got back to the country and didn't know who else to call. I was in such a rush I grabbed the backpack by accident. I didn't realize until I was already down the mountain. So, I slapped him a 3rd time. He could have woken me up, told me what was going on, brought me down the mountain with him. Instead he'd snuck off with the backpack, taken the car, and left me alone on top of that mountain. Bella came bursting out of the bathroom at the noise. She stepped in front of Ethan, putting herself between us like she was protecting him. Blame me. Clara, I'm the one who called him. I had no idea your asthma would act up, but you're safe now, right? I let out a bitter, disbelieving laugh. Did attempted murder not count as long as the victim survived? Get out of my way. I snarled. Ethan's brow furrowed. He pulled Bella behind him. Clara, I'm the one who left without saying anything. I'm the one who left you on that mountain. This is all my fault. Yell at me, hit me, whatever you want, but leave Bella alone. She didn't do anything wrong. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the rage and grief turning inside me, but my hands still shook with anger. Bella's face was pale, fragile looking. Ethan, maybe I should just get a hotel room. I don't want to cause problems between you two. Then she turned to me and apologized. I'm sorry, Clara, but there really is nothing between Ethan and me. I hope you don't blame him for this. What a master manipulator. I smiled coldly, watching her put on her little show. Ethan looked at me, his voice cold as ice. This house is half mine. I'm not making Bella leave. It wasn't a request. It was a statement. Bella's pretty eyes lit up, but she kept up the act. No. It's fine. Clara doesn't want me here. I don't want to be the reason. Ethan cut her off. There won't be any problems. You're staying. What if you start bleeding again in the middle of the night like you did the other day? Do you think hotel staff will rush you to the hospital? Bella hung her head, looking guilty. I'm sorry. I'm just dragging you into all this. The two of them played off each other like I wasn't even in the room. I dug my nails into my palm to ground myself, forcing my spinning head to clear. Ethan turned to Bella. Go on up to the room. Bella, I need to talk to Clara. Bella hesitated, like she had more to say. She fisted the hem of Ethan's shirt. Don't fight about me. I can leave whenever. We won't fight. Go on up. Okay. Ethan soothed her gently. I closed my eyes, exhausted. My stomach turned with disgust. Bella walked slowly up to the bedroom on the 2nd floor, glancing back every few steps. When I heard the door click shut upstairs, Ethan turned to me. Clara, I want to talk to you about something. I ground my teeth and said nothing. Can we get divorced? For a little while, he said, clearly afraid I'd say no. He rushed to explain. Bella's really sick. She probably has less than a year left. That's why I brought her home to take care of her. I stared at him coldly, waiting for him to finish. You know we dated in college. I promised her we'd do all these things together. But we were poor students back then. Most of it never happened. Now that she's at the end, she came back to fulfill her last wishes. I want to be there for her. Keep those old promises. Ethan stumbled over his words. Then there was silence. Long, heavy silence. I almost thought I'd misheard him. I never thought I'd hear such an absurd reason for divorce in my entire life. When I didn't answer, Ethan grew anxious. It's just to help her check off her bucket list. I'll be there for her like family. Once she's gone, I'll handle her affairs and come back. We'll get remarried. Turns out, when you're that speechless and that angry, you start laughing. Did he think I was some doormat? That I'd just sit around and wait for him while he played devoted boyfriend to his ex? No, my answer was final. I'd already had divorce papers drawn up. But looking at how desperate he was, I changed my mind. Ethan froze. Right on cue, Bella's voice called down from upstairs. Ethan. Don't. I told you I won't go along with that. She leaned over the 2nd floor railing. Clara, don't listen to him. He's just worried about me. I don't want to come between you two. I'll move out tomorrow. I scoffed. Didn't want to interfere. She already had. Neither of us downstairs said a word, but Ethan seemed to make up his mind. When he spoke again, his voice was cold, distant. Clara, this divorce would only be temporary, 2 years at most, as compensation. I'll give you 10 of the company shares. My voice was colder than his, every word sharp and clear. I said no, 10%. This was my husband, the man I'd loved for 5 years of marriage. If he wanted to throw this away. That price. Way too low. I packed a bag of clothes and essentials, grabbed my suitcase, and headed for the door. Ethan blocked my way, furious. Where are you going now? You just got back. Who's out there waiting for you? I told you. This is only temporary. Bella doesn't have much time. Can't we just help her finish her bucket list? I scoffed. All her wishes. If she wanted to go to the moon, would you fly her there too? Ethan ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. Her wishes are just the promises I made her back then. I owe her that much. Funny. I never took you for such a man of your word. My voice dripped with sarcasm. If you owed her so much, why did you break up in the first place? He paced back and forth. I always thought you were reasonable. Clara, I didn't realize you could be so cold. Why are you fighting this? She's dying. One insult after another. All for Bella. I watched him grow more and more agitated. Cold and calm. I don't care about your past. I'm not agreeing to a divorce. If you want one so bad, file for it in court. I paused, then twisted the knife. And for the record, I won't say our marriage is broken. I'm the innocent party here. You won't get a divorce easy. It'll take at least 1.5 years, minimum. Ethan's mouth fell open. Then he begged. It's only temporary. Once Bella's wishes are fulfilled, we'll be husband and wife again. If you're worried about things going wrong, I'll give you the 10 shares and all the marital property. Everything. Even though I'd gotten exactly what I wanted. My chest ached. I let out a bitter laugh. I had to admit it really loved her. Fine. We get divorced. The man in front of me finally breathed a sigh of relief. I wheeled my suitcase out the front door. This time, Ethan didn't stop me. Cold wind slipped down my collar and I shivered. My chest throbbed with every heartbeat. Once I was outside, I clutched my chest and sank slowly to the ground. My stomach roiled and I gagged, dry heaving. It was all so ridiculous. 5 years of marriage. Ending just like that. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. Unstoppable. 5 years of love. All for nothing. I took my things to my grandparents' old cottage. I'd barely been back since they passed. It hurt too much to see all their things. I just had a cleaner come by every now and then to keep the place tidy. Everything was still the way they'd left it. Almost nothing had hanged. I filled a bucket with water and started dusting. I didn't stop until the sun was low in the sky. Then collapsed onto the couch. I stared at the photos of my grandparents and my parents on the mantel. I really was all alone in the world now. My parents had died in a factory collapse when I was 3. My grandparents had raised me. That night, I curled up on the couch and slept hard. When I woke up, my head was still foggy. I sat there for a long time before I remembered where I was. I slipped on my slippers and washed up quickly. I was standing on the balcony, staring at the people out for their morning walk. When the doorbell rang, I dragged myself to the door and opened it. It was Ethan. He was holding 2 folders. Of course, he couldn't wait to get those divorce papers signed. Scared I'd change my mind, I sighed quietly to myself. Ethan held out a paper bag, from his other hand breakfast sliders and coffee. I figured you'd be at your grandparents' place. Picked this up on the way. You should eat. I took the breakfast without expression. Then grabbed the divorce papers from his other hand. Got a pen. Ethan patted his pocket and pulled out a black ballpoint, handing it to me. Thank you for understanding, Clara. I promise I'll make this up to you once everything with Bella is settled. Make it up to me. How? Guilt finally showed on his face. I ate the sliders while I flipped to the property division section. It was clear-cut. All marital assets went to me: house, cars, stocks. Everything. He hadn't hidden anything. I picked up the pen and signed my name in one clean stroke. 2 copies. I kept one for myself. Once I finished breakfast, let's go to the county clerk's office. I ate fast, almost shoveling the food down. I was scared he'd change his mind. Ethan drove me to the clerk's office. Neither of us said a word the whole way there. When we filed for divorce, the clerk looked up at us. Have both of you thought this through? Is this a mutual decision? Ethan and I both nodded. The clerk flipped through the divorce agreement quickly, then gave Ethan a long, meaningful look. Probably didn't see many husbands sign over every last thing to their ex-wife. Here's your receipt. Come back to pick up your divorce decree within the waiting period, or you'll have to refile. Ethan took the slip and let out a quiet breath. We walked out of the office one after the other. Ethan, I called after him. He turned. What? I asked the question that had been eating at me. Why do we have to get divorced? Couldn't you just take care of her behind my back? With any luck, I might not even find out for 2 years. Ethan turned slowly. His eyes were soft, but determined. I won't let her be called a homewrecker. I won't let people gossip about her. She's not the other woman. I'm divorcing you so I can take care of her as a friend. That's all. Nothing's going to happen between us. You don't have to worry. Oh, so that was it. I guess that made sense. Which meant I could take all his assets without feeling guilty. If I couldn't have love, I'd have money. Fair enough. A month later, our divorce was finalized. The house, cars, funds, stocks all transferred to my name. I'd already owned 35 of the company. With the extra 10 he gave me, I now held almost as many shares as he did. I'd helped him build that company 6 years ago. Thinking back to the early days, it had been one long, brutal fight. We'd had barely any startup capital. Every decision had felt like walking a tightrope. Office equipment, rent, RD, marketing. We'd had to pinch every penny. I still remembered what it felt like to be broke. We'd planted the tree together, but who knew who'd end up sitting in the shade? I stared at the share transfer papers in my hand. I hired a broker to sell off my shares in small, scattered blocks. Ethan's head was so far up Bella's ass right now. I didn't trust him to run the company well, and besides, I wanted nothing more to do with him cashing out the shares. I'd come out ahead. The day after I got the new deed, I listed the mansion with a realtor. It was in a great location, zoned for top elementary and middle schools. Buyers came calling right away. I'd been attached to the house once, but thinking about Ethan and Bella living there made my skin crawl. The buyer was a businessman from out of town. He planned to move his whole family here. He loved the school zoning, and the 3 floors plus basement gave them plenty of space. He put down a deposit on the spot and told the realtor to start the transfer paperwork. Before the sale closed, I went back to the mansion with a team of cleaners. Ethan stared in shock when I walked in with 6 people in cleaning uniforms. Clara, what's all this? I had cleaners in last week. The place doesn't need to be done again. I didn't even glance at him. I waved a hand at the team behind me. Everything in this house that isn't a permanent fixture, pack it all up and dump it by the front gate. Then I pointed to 2 of the cleaners. You 2 see. With me. Help me pack my things. Bella stared daggers at me, like she wanted to tear me apart. Ethan looked more confused than ever. What are you doing? Why are you throwing everything out? Because I sold the house, I said calmly. Ethan froze. What? Why would you sell the house? Bella shrieked. This is Ethan's house. You have no right to sell his property. It's my house now, I said evenly. Whether I sell it or not is my business. Ethan grabbed my wrist and yanked me aside. His grip was so tight I cried out. You sold the house. Where are we going to live when we get remarried? Who said anything about remarrying? A small smile tugged at my lips. Ethan went completely still. I wrenched my hand free. I kept directing the cleaners, carrying all my things out to the moving van. Ethan finally seemed to snap out of it. He stormed over and blocked my path. Clara, this was only supposed to be temporary, I scoffed. Show me where temporary divorce exists in the law. A divorce is a divorce. Ethan stared. Then his face turned cold with rage. He ground out through clenched teeth. You set me up. My smile dropped. You were the one who suggested all of this. How is that me setting you up? Ethan glared at me, eyes blazing with fury. My voice was ice. From now on, Ethan, you do you and I'll do me. We're done. He clearly hadn't expected me to be so ruthless. His mouth opened and closed. In the end, he said nothing. 2 months later, I'd sold off all my shares. Ethan called me, furious. Those shares were collateral. You had no right to sell them. I wasn't about to argue with an idiot. They're in my name. I can sell them if I want. That's all the right I need. Then why didn't you sell them back to me? Do you have any idea how important those shares are? Whoever buys them gets a say in major company decisions. Do you even understand? He was yelling so loud my ear rang. I picked at my ear. Calm as ever. Selling them off in small blocks was me being nice. You can always buy them back from the new owners. Ethan took a deep breath. Do you want to ruin me? I told you. The divorce was just to help Bella finish her last wishes. Do you have to be this petty? There's a line. Clara, what do you get out of destroying both of us? I thought he must have lost his mind. Destroy both of us. The only one getting destroyed was him. I didn't want to listen to any more of his mansplaining. I hung up. Then, on second thought, I blocked his number. Problem solved. Months slipped by. We'd divorced in the dead of winter. Now the crisp autumn air smelled of goldenrod and fallen leaves. I was scrolling through a social media app when a profile popped up. The profile picture was Bella. The algorithm was too good. Even after deleting their numbers, I still couldn't escape them. Bella's latest post was a video of her and Ethan kissing under the northern lights in Iceland. She was wearing a big puffy coat, but you could still see her full cheeks. Her glowing skin. She didn't look sick at all. Guess love really was the best medicine. Ethan, on the other hand, had lost a lot of weight. He looked gaunt, run down. But what did I care? I hit not interested on her profile. Right around then, Ethan's company ran into a huge problem. While he'd been gallivanting around the world with Bella, his CFO had embezzled tens of millions in company funds. He didn't find out until the bank froze the company accounts. Rumor was the CFO's boyfriend had tricked her into investing the money in some jade mine. Said they'd double their money in 2 months. But he'd been a scammer. Once the money was wired to his overseas account, he vanished. The boyfriend fled the country. The CFO kept showing up to work right up until the whole thing came crashing down. Ethan called the police immediately, but it was too late. He could throw her in jail. But the money was gone. Ethan was bankrupt. I felt a little twinge of something. Life really was full of one unexpected twist after another. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Turns out Bella never had stomach cancer. She'd had a severe gastric ulcer, symptoms similar enough to cancer. Or that the first doctor had misdiagnosed her. But once they'd confirmed it was just an ulcer, Bella had kept it from Ethan. It came out because after half a year of Ethan doting on her and hospital treatment, she was completely better. Even an idiot could tell the difference between a healthy person and someone dying of cancer. He took Bella to a specialist in Houston to get checked again. After all the tests, the only thing wrong with her was a little bloating. Ethan was over the moon. He even forgot about being bankrupt for a while. He posted about it over and over on social media, talking about how late-stage stomach cancer could be cured. A friend sent me screenshots of his posts. I couldn't help but wince. When had he lost his mind? Or had he always been this dumb? I'd never know. Life always had one more twist up its sleeve. Shortly after his company filed for bankruptcy, Ethan showed up at my door asking to get remarried. Clara, Bella's cured. I helped her check off every last wish. Now we can get back together. I wanted to bang my head against a wall. Or did Bella run back to her ex-husband overseas? And now you're crawling back to me. I'd hit not interested on Bella's profile. But the algorithm had still served her up one more time. All her posts with Ethan were gone or hidden. Her latest was a plane ticket to the US. Caption: across mountains and seas to see you. It definitely wasn't Ethan she was going to see. Ethan dropped to his knees right in front of me. Forgive me. Excuse me. If I say I'm sorry, will you forgive me? I'll do anything you say from now on. Just come back. He had to be drunk. Come back. And then what? Come back and marry me again, please. I laughed until my sides hurt. Ethan, do you think marriage is some kind of game? You leave when you want. Come back when you want. Who do you think you are? Ethan's face was twisted with pain. He grabbed my hands. Bella left the country again. She won't come between us anymore. I deleted all her contact info. Tears welled in his eyes. He really did look remorseful. I wrenched my hands free, my face cold. I was just about to tear into him when Ethan's phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID. It said, Bella. Wow, and he'd just said he deleted all her contact info. Ethan swayed. He hesitated for a long time, then answered, probably scared I'd think the worst. He put it on speaker. When the call connected, he snarled, "What now? What else do you want from me? Haven't you ruined my life enough?" But a weak, crying voice came through the line. "Ethan. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It hurts so bad." Ethan's face went white. "What's wrong? What happened?" Someone else took the phone. "Mr. Walker, I'm a friend of Bella's. She got caught in a gang fight on the street tonight. A bullet went through her left side." Before the person could finish, Ethan started shaking so hard he could barely stand. Then his legs gave out and he collapsed onto the floor. Ethan all but crawled out of my place. A week later, he texted me. The bullet had damaged Bella's uterus and ovaries. She'd probably never be able to have children. When her ex-husband overseas found out, he dumped her again. A month later, Ethan brought a frail Bella back to the country. He never came back to ask about remarrying. Not long after, a college friend sent me a wedding invitation. Confused, "Clara, did you and Ethan get divorced? Why is he inviting me to his wedding with Bella?" I zoomed in on the invitation. I recognized the handwriting. Every word was Ethan's. I remembered our wedding. I'd written all the invitations myself. The difference between being loved and not loved was that stark. I typed back, "Yeah, we got divorced over 2 years ago." My friend didn't reply after that. Probably didn't know what else to say. I used the money from the shares and the house to open a boutique resort near a scenic area in the next state over. The local government was pushing hard for tourism there. My resort sprawled across roughly 17 acres, with a cafe, a bakery, a kids' play area, a swimming pool, and more. Business was good. With its unique design and vibe, it slowly became a popular local spot. I was so busy with work, I barely thought about the past anymore. I didn't see Ethan and Bella again until 2 years later. It was the anniversary of my grandparents' passing. I'd gone back to town to visit their graves. It was early morning, misty and drizzling. I never expected to run into Ethan at the cemetery. I frowned, but didn't say anything. I didn't want our messy drama to play out in front of my family's graves. On the walk down to the parking lot, Ethan spoke up from behind me. "I was wrong. I failed you. I failed our marriage. I didn't want to hear it. Besides, it was all ancient history. What was the point of bringing it up again? It's in the past. I'm happy now. Happier than I ever was married to you." Ethan was quiet for a moment, then went on. "Bella and I got divorced less than a year after we married. My mom wouldn't have it. She couldn't accept that Bella can't have kids." I stopped walking. A faint, cold sadness settled in my chest. This man was just as selfish as he'd always been. "So you sided with your mom and divorced her?" There was nothing but contempt in my voice. Ethan looked ashamed. "Bella was the one who asked for the divorce. She couldn't stand my mom's snide comments. She's not like you. My mom never liked her." "Ethan, I think so little of you right now. If you'd stood by her, protected her from your mom, I might have actually respected you. But you make me sick. Just thinking about sharing a bed with you for 5 years makes me want to throw up." Ethan tried to defend himself. "She betrayed me first. She dumped me without a second thought in college just to go abroad. And the second she got better, she ran back overseas. I was just a backup plan to her." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Then you two really were perfect for each other. It's a shame you broke up." My contempt must have been clear as day. Ethan froze, like he'd been burned. "I didn't know things would turn out like this. When she said she had terminal cancer, I just wanted to help her finish her wishes. I never meant to actually divorce you." I kept walking. "You didn't know. You just didn't think you'd end up broke and alone, did you?" Ethan doubled over, like all the life had been sucked out of him. He mumbled to himself, "But I never thought you'd actually leave me." I looked up at the misty sky and sighed deeply. I thought back to our wedding vows, promising to stay together through sickness and health, through poverty and wealth, for the rest of our lives. But in the end, who was it that let go first? I never saw Ethan again after that day. I heard 2 more things about him, though. Once was when he crashed Bella's wedding and caused a huge scene. Someone filmed it and posted it online. It felt like karma. No one got a happy ending. The other time was when he got a new job. Then got in a fight with a client during a meeting and smashed a beer bottle over the guy's head. When you've been on top, how do you bow and scrape for someone else? But none of it mattered to me anymore. The river of time carries us all forward. It rolls on, crushing old memories under its wheels. We walk into different crowds, different lives, and never cross paths again. Hey there, could you rate this story in the comments? Use a scale of 1 to 10. Please, I am begging you. It really means a lot to me. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit follow.